That's the exact right level of hype for the cast of Gotham. Everybody welcome to the stage your moderator, Brandon, for Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Give him a warm round of
applause! You guys ready to take a trip back down to Gotham?
Yeah!
Alright, so let me introduce our panelists. First, can I get Sean Pertwee? Bruce Wayne, Batman himself, David Mazouz. All right, gentlemen, have a seat, have a seat. So, just tell me, how has Rhode Island Comic Con been for you guys so far? Going down the table.
Well, it's been absolutely lovely, but I haven't seen much of Providence. That's where we are. But it's lovely, I love it. I came a couple of years ago, actually, with Drew and Robin, I think. But it's lovely, I love this convention.
It's been fantastic. I was actually here Thursday night. I haven't been to Providence since Jethro Tull concert. I was incredibly drunk and passed out under a bush around New Jersey. So it's my first time back in 35 years or whatever. So thank you. Good to be here. You guys not hear me? That's fine. I don't need any mic. I love it here. Thank you for having us back. Best Alfred ever.
So, gentlemen, take me back. We're going to, as you said, go down memory lane. Take me back to the time that you guys were aware that you were going to be a part, of this series, with these characters that are so, iconic, and other people that have had, opportunity and jabs at these characters for each of you.
Well, it was a really fascinating process, the whole thing actually about getting the job. I don't know if you guys have heard this story before, but we were sent, I certainly was, Donald was offered the job outright because he's a genius. David and I ended up through the ringer slightly because I don't know about David, but they sent us these generic pieces, and mine was, I was doing elementary at the time, and mine was about a guy that goes into a pub and smashes someone in the larynx, in the throat. I thought this is interesting, but it obviously was written by someone that knew how knew someone from the East End of London, which is a tough part of my city. The vernacular was absolutely bang on the money, which is very rare to find. So they flew me down to Los Angeles, and I didn't know what it was for. And I saw Danny Cannon, who I'd done a couple of movies with before, and of course knew about his work. I saw Cooking Past him. They said, "Oh, this is for." I said, "This is for Gotham." I said, "But who's this character who gets involved in a big fight?" He said, "Well, that's Alfred." So that was the beginning part of it. So we didn't. I've always said this. Had we known that I was actually auditioning for Alfred, I never would have got the job. I guarantee it, because I would have done an ode to Michael Caine or something. But this is applicable to, I think, most of the cast in this way, that they cherry-picked elements of us that we didn't know that were there, that they saw in their characters. The end.
I was really lucky because I think it was before Thanksgiving, I came back from, I'd finished Vikings, I'd been brutally murdered on that show, which happens to me a lot. But I came back and I met Bruno Heller at Warner Brothers, and I was like, dude, this is the dude that wrote, and I was a huge fan of Rome, and he gave me a lot of inside baseball on Rome, which was great. And he said he was like really short because we're doing this thing. It's kind of a noir take on Gotham, and we want you to be Harvey Bullock. And I said, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And we didn't start shooting till March, was it?
Yes.
So I had some months, but and then I was waiting to see who they cast after that. And as Gordon especially, you know, and we miss Ben because he was kind of the heart and soul and he was the workhorse of Gotham. But that's how it happened. I was super fortunate. And then it's me, piece. We're all super tight. I know people say that, but I know they can attest to it. There wasn't one bad word or moment in 5 years between anybody on that show. And I generally speaking see a lot of love and good things, but we were a bizarrely close, really cool group of people. And I know, like, you know, I wish we were all together right now, but yeah, it was, I think we were maybe ready to take 6 months off and come back. We did a little bit of it was tough for the crew to make Gotham because we were in the winter in New York. And those and the writers in California seem to love to go exterior. Bridge, nights, 30 below zero. I'm like, dude, get a table, come out from New York, and write on the roof of my building at 2 in the morning. But anyway. But yes.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Sean basically described it, but you know, my journey getting to Gotham as well. I had done sides. It was my scene was a boy who was in I think what was supposed to be some version of a therapist's office, and he was talking about the loss of his brother. And the therapist said, like, do you remember any good memories with your brother? And I forget what my character's name was. It wasn't Bruce. Starts talking about this memory where him and his brother were out camping or something like that, and they climbed a tree, and he was on the tree, and he was talking about the Nash Steve. And it was a really, really cool scene, really real. And I auditioned a lot of times. I think I auditioned like twice and tested, which usually when you test, you just retest. That's the last step, but I just tested 4 more times after that. So yeah, it was a long and stressful process, but obviously it was worth it.
Bring you back enough times to get to the one time that you F it up.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so I just have a couple of questions, and then I'm going to open it out to you guys. So, Sean, I didn't understand in finding out about doing a little research on you. I know that you have very much a family of actors, especially in theater. So, with that being said, what was it about specifically about Gotham and making that transition of doing things that are a little more that are classical versus something that?
I mean, it is in a way it is classical, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
It's 80 years old.
Yeah.
Literally. But it was operatic in its scale. I think our show. I think that the designers and Danny Cannon's vision. It was operatic and beautifully shot, realised. That's kind of means Taxi Driver, right? Which I think was super cool. I mean, and what isn't there? You know, you've got to understand. Coming from like London, it's a huge box. Needs to be ticked is to basically walk down through the Bowery or Chinatown doing a movie because you feel like you're in a Scorsese film, frankly. And it's a massive, massive part of a dream come true, dream realised really. It's actually playing one of the only Brits in a superhero world, Constantine Valkyrie, I think. And 2, working with an incredible bunch of people on a subject that I really cared about. And I'm so proud to be attached to it and be part of it because it did feel like a theatre company, which was what I was saying earlier on. We were so close and so tight. There's so much trust with each other that it felt like a theatre company that it normally comes with working in the theatre. In fact, Ben used to insisted on our lunch breaks to do table reads at the next episode, which we used to, even if we weren't actually filming,
Yeah.
we'd come in and read it so we'd see our compadre scenes going on in the world of Gotham.
And then lastly, Don, I would be remiss to bring up another comic book film outside of Batman, and that's Blade. A lot of people sleep on Blade. We always say X-Men, brought in, the comic era, but I say Blade did, 98. With that being said also, I know you were talking about relationships and having those relationships with people that you work with. I understand that you're close with Stephen Dorff too.
Thank you for bringing it. Blade broke all kinds of barriers. And it didn't invent Nosferatu or the vampire, but damn, it made it cool again, right? Yeah. Wesley is unbelievable. I don't know if you've seen Dolomite.
Yes.
Wesley Snipes, Eddie Murphy's a crazy genius. Wesley Snipes almost outdoes him. Wesley Snipes is an amazing actor, great guy. We had an amazing, Blade was, I don't know, there's sometimes, for me maybe, it's stressful to do what we do, because the days are, you want to be prepared, you put a lot of heat on yourself. But I remember starting Blade, Stephen Norrington, the director, was like, hey man, it's fun to be a fucking man. Have fun. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have fun. And so thanks for bringing
Hopefully we have a reunion in this new incarnation, you, Wesley, and Stephen in some capacity.
I would love to. I know Stephen's in New Mexico doing a job with a friend of mine named Courtney, so I haven't seen Stephen in a couple of years. And Arlie Colbert, who was in it, who just talked the other day. But yeah, what a joy. And you have to imagine, there was a guy named, so when Marvel did Blade, they were kind of on the brink of bankruptcy, or they had sold off properties, and this was a last ditch thing, and they didn't know if it was gonna work, and they were like, do you think it's gonna work? And it worked, and yeah. I was lucky to be in those both. And Ghost Rider too, there was another.
So guys, we have
lesser groovy Marvel movie.
I'll open up to you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
My name's Rob. Is there a particular moment in the series that stands out to you the most, or a moment that you're gonna just remember for the rest of your life? Like for each of you?
Well, there's so many really over 5 years, but just the joy of working, watching this young talented man next to me, watching him grow up in front of my eyes, quite literally, was an extraordinary. That was my most heartfelt achievement. I think, really, watching him work. And doing some great scenes where he can come in and the man kind of thing, making me realise that shut up, which is that mantra. Scenes like that where really stand out.
There were a zillion, but like Sean said, but I do think the scene where we're in the future, we fast forwarded 10 years, and Alfred comes walking across the roof of that parking garage, and Ben puts the light on, and it's the three of us on this roof, and it's the appearance of Batman. It's David's face, but another 6'5" manimal. Holy smokes, dude! This is some Batman stuff. Like, this is big deal. Batman's the most recognizable, like, worldwide. There's something so spectacular about Batman. It's just to have a thumbprint in the Batman universe is amazing.
I think for me it's the beginning. Like there's not one specific moment from the pilot, but like the scene when I'm on the roof and the very first scene I did with Sean told me to get down, and walking through the alley, walking away from the crime scene. Like I don't know, I think the beginning is always gonna stick with me.
Thanks so much.
Thank
As I said, that Gotham started off as very much noir. We follow Bullock and Harvey, Bullock and Gordon, and we follow them on their day-to-day case and then slowly evolved more into Batman. We follow a little bit more Bruce. I really want to say that Vasquez, do you think it should have stayed very much a strictly noir by the books cop show, or should it, or do you think it really needed to evolve more?
You know, when it started, I thought, first of all, there was talks at the beginning that it was going to be in LA, even though it would still have the same dark look, etc. But my favorite thing is LA noir, like James Ellroy and Raymond Chandler, and there's something just so groovy about detective stuff in LA. Blade Runner too. And then so when we started it, but the shows migrate in the direction that they should go, right? Like people, they're wanting to follow that story more, or whatever it is. It's kind of like supply and demand. Like you want to go to where people want to see it, and I think it was too big and beautiful of a world to get stuck doing case by case in the GCPD. I love the comics about Gotham Central, but like we had a big, amazing, incredibly broad world. Maybe too big to try and tell on an hour every week, but yeah, I loved sitting back and watching what these guys were doing when they were. At first, it was a lot of me and Ben, and then it was central. It was procedural, and then it was good, man. It just branched out to the family.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because one of our showrunners, like John Stevens, he said, I never really experienced doing a show this scale. I mean, it was huge, man, you know, and he likened it to saying, when you write a pilot, it's like throwing a bomb of spaghetti at the wall and see what strands stick. He said, our problem was they were fucking stuck. See my French. But it's literally, they had this sort of welter of, from Corey Michael Smith, who was this guy, and Willie and Lord Taylor. They were like, well, this is all good. So,
Yeah.
so it was a seeking out search. It was a bit of a muddle, if I'm really brutally honest, actually, in the first season. Because then we got extended after 16, the writers were freaking out, because they only got back, you do 22 now. So the first season was a little bit like that, and then the second season we really found our footing, and I think we see that we all, you know, it was our world then. That's what we started to really enjoy. Thanks, man.
Hi, my name is Keith.
Hi, Keith.
I've got a question for David, if that's all right.
Yeah.
It's not right.
All right with us.
How does it feel to be Batman at the age of 18?
Phenomenal. Thank you.
I'm Mari. I have a question for David. I know that when you started, doing your Gotham acting thing, I was kind of nervous. I know when you started, you were like really young. I know now. I think you're 18.
Yeah.
How was it growing up in the spotlight? Did people treat you differently? Were you stressed out? Stuff like that.
Like at work or in my
It's just
normal life?
Yeah, just normal life. Like,
I mean, I was very fortunate that I went to a very small high school, and all of my closest friends, at least from my high school, I had known since fourth grade, and so they all knew me for David and not the kid that was on that TV show, which I did get a lot of, but I was never really close to those people. And then eventually it did kind of add this added barrier to any new relationship. But I think, I don't know, I was always able to get over it fairly quickly, just by, I don't know, just getting, I think people understand, like, they get to know you and not like the object that you represent pretty quickly if that's what you want. But yeah, I mean, my mom, here, over there, she was always, she always made it very clear to me and to everyone around me that, and she always kind of like she kind of instilled this priority in me, which I'm forever grateful for, that it was always school first, and acting was a close second, but it was always the second. And I'm really grateful for that, because you see a lot of people in this industry who kind of throw everything they have at it, which is awesome. You have to throw everything you have at it, or else you're never going to make it. But they'll give up everything for the littlest opportunity. And if I had to describe this industry in one word, it's unpredictability. You never know where you're going to be tomorrow, and it's a very, very dangerous game to do that, especially as a young person, because you're not only throwing your own future and your own existence, into this void. You never know where you're going to end up on the other side, but it's your family's too. And so I was always very grounded. I was always very grounded in school and my friends back at home, with my, so whenever I had a break from work, if Gotham ever got canceled overnight, I would have a home, I would have a family, I would have a school, I would have a quote-unquote normal life to go back to. I always had kind of a fallback plan. And I think it definitely, probably that single-handedly determines who I am. My values are great things.
My name is Zach. My question for you guys is, which character other than your own would you really excited to see get fleshed out in the season, or the series itself? Like, which one, were you really excited every time you saw them get more developed on and on?
Sean and I always had a lot of fun
Yeah.
doing stuff together.
I wish there's more of it, really.
Yeah.
We
It was
sort of
hard.
found-
It was hard because there's so many of us.
I don't. You mean it sort of changed exponentially? Sort of changed.
Really?
Oh, well, I mean,
Edward?
Ed
They
Enigma.
did it because they
Yeah.
had such a good slow burn on him.
Yeah.
In the first season, we knew what he was going to become.
Yeah.
But to watch Corey would only pop in for a little bit on every other episode or
Yeah.
something, and just do a couple things and be snapped at. But you knew how great he is as an actor and just how dynamic that transformation would become. Right? That was big.
For me, something I was always excited about was not necessarily the evolution of individual characters, but the evolution of certain relationships on the show. Whenever two people from different worlds, because a lot of times on Gotham, because we had so many characters, the characters kind of felt like islands. It was always like, me and Sean off the way manner, kind of doing our own thing, and then Bullock and Jim just doing our own thing. And then whenever those islands were kind of transcended, and we got to make contact with the outside world, it was always really nice and cool to see where it went.
Thank you.
This one is for Mr. Law, may I call you Donald?
Yeah, sure.
So, your character tends to be...
What's your name?
My name is Jim. Your character tends to be a very sarcastic, punch first, ask questions later, then throw them out the window. Would you prefer to be that character in your real life, or would you prefer to be who you are today?
That's a great question. There was someone said something really interesting to me about, I won't get into the real nitty-gritty of it, but about you as a human being walking through the world. And you get to this point in your life where you want to make some kind of, you want to change your life for the better or whatever. And this guy said to me, he goes, this New York dude, he's so brilliant in this super New Yorkie way. He goes, look, man, if you're the kind of guy who's walked through life, I don't know if your parents kicked your ass or what, if you're the kind of guy that walks through life and you're like, and you never take a baseball bat out of the trunk of your car, maybe it's a good time every once in a while to take a baseball bat. And he goes, conversely, if you're the kind of guy who is going after the world, maybe it's time to put the baseball bat away a little bit. And I thought that's a kind of brilliant, yeah. Because Harvey sometimes would say meaner things or just be more honest and upfront and abrasive than I probably would ever be. But I also, when we started the show, Harvey in the comics is so abrasive that I honestly felt like if he's not to make him a nicer guy so people think I'm nice. If he's that abrasive and rude and crude, then people won't hang for the ride that long. You know, like you have to find that heart in there. And so, but thank you, that was an awesome question.
Hello. So first I want to thank you all for coming to Rhode Island. I have to say the cast of Gotham has always been big to Rhode Island. So Gotham has been was my favorite comic adaptation in recent years, so I want to just throw at you a few rapid fire. First, Sean, have you been tapped to cameo or kind of do a retcon with Pennyworth? Because it's a Bruno Heller show. So.
No, I haven't. I saw when Bruno Heller came bouncing down the stairs and gleefully announced that there was a spin-off show called Pennyworth. And I said, you know, when do we start? And he went, I'm too old. So that's my involvement. I've seen a little bit of Jack. He does a great job. Of course, it's got Bruno and Danny stamped all over. And I was hoping I'd be like the beginning of Fraggle Rock or something. And I go, I remember the time. Fireplace or something like that. But no, they wouldn't have it. They said it's a different universe. But it actually is, I'm kind of bizarrely very proud in a way, because I think we piqued people's interest enough to warrant someone being considered as a vital part of the Batman canon. So, you know, by making him physical, making him brusque, and making him explanatory, and really going for it, and having 100 episodes in which to tell that story, for people to be interested enough to have his own show, I think that's, you know, I'm somewhat to do with that. So I was very proud in any capacity.
Good. I think you should actually be in the series final of that, my opinion. But for all of you, I have a question. Have any of you been tapped to do the CW DC Universe Crisis stuff? Anything? No one? No?
I don't think we would. You know, it's weird, but like, it's so weird. I know it's, if you're on the CW, going back and forth between the worlds it's happening, it's expected, it's cool, but we were like our own island, right? And I think like none of us would go, oh, I'm gonna go do a show where there's another Jim Gordon or Alfred or, you know, or Bruce Wayne or anything. So that would just be so, we haven't been tapped, first of all. But I also think that shows actually want to protect, when you do a show, kind of like Pennyworth maybe, there's a suspension of disbelief. And I remember on Sons of Anarchy, Kurt Sutter never wanted to have, you know, Michael Chiklis was such a looming presence in The Shield. He was like, I'm not going to start my show out with you because people are so, they have that character in their mind. You know, you want to create a new world that's kind of, maybe for fans it's fun, but I can understand from a showrunner's perspective of where they want.
Well, they could use you, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
And by the way, Don, I loved you on Stumptown. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you.
My question's for David. Did they have you try on the bat suit? This is important.
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. I wouldn't kill you. I'd just tie you up with some battering.
Sounds fun.
Hi, I'm Paige. My question is for all of you. I was wondering if there's like a favorite season you have, or like a favorite version of your character you did like in the season, like Billionaire Brat or any of those.
I liked, personally, I like the second season for me because Fox had given up by that stage, because I sort of would go off piste quite a lot, just make stuff up and see how far I could get, you know, how much I could get away with. Like undercrackers, you know, tagging on a kidney plank and all this kind of stuff. So they actually constructed the scene, actually weirdly enough, around the audition speech when I meet Chris Chalk. So it was a time when you really see someone from London, when you never know if they're joking or if they're not. And I like that about Alfred, that he's an outsider. For some reason, Bullock and him got on incredibly well, but we got a chance to sort of really explore the vernacular of Alfred. for me anyway, that was one of my favourite seasons, was the second one. Yeah.
I thought this could be the whole new world.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites was Bruce's party stage. I know it wasn't some of the fans' favorite, but it was fun to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, first off, Donald, huge fan. Love your version of Alfred. It's my favorite version. And my question is for all three of you, though. Out of all of the characters throughout the entire canon of Batman that have been brought forth to Gotham, and believe me, there's been a lot, is there any one of them that you like looked at that version and go, no, I like the comic book version better? Did you guys make just such slight tweaks to every character to make them your own universe? Was there anything you're like, I don't like that tweak, I want the original?
Well, I don't think any of us would ever say a nary word about anybody who came and threw down and offered their talents to what we
I'm not saying about the actor being bad, I'm just saying the version of it.
Well, we have too many stories, right? I wish, having read the books, I wish that Montoya and Allen could have been around a lot more. You know, I thought that MCU was like a really kind of important part of that GCPD universe, and so we had fun with them in the pilot and episodes in season 1. But yeah, I really liked, and they were fascinating characters.
I mean, we sort of half-heartedly tapped into things that could have been sort of like Killer Croc with the Freaks Escape kind of thing. I thought that was, if I'm really honest, I can say it till I get fired.
Which one was that?
That's the Freaks Escape from the Monsters.
Oh yeah.
And I think we tapped on it and then we didn't follow through. And I think that was a kind of, I
thought the same thing.
That was weak of us. We didn't commit. You either go large or go home. Yeah. And I thought that that was a wasted opportunity.
Thank you.
My name's Brian. Thank you so much for being here. David, Wubba Lubba Dub Dub. My question for the three of you. Season 3, the Tetch virus gets released, and whoever gets infected with the Tetch virus, a deep part of their personality gets amplified. And my question is, if you three were all infected with that virus, what personality traits would be brought out in each other? Like, David, what would be brought out in Donald and Sam?
I did not see that part
Either being Lothario or Extreme Violence, one of the two.
I think Sean would just be unbelievably sarcastic. I would just have no idea whether or not he's being serious at any point.
That's such a good question. In fairness to the DC universe, the Tetch virus and the Scarecrow, the harvesting, the adrenal, at the moment of you're terrified of water, I'm going to drown you. And when your system is running red line and your fight or flight goes to freeze because it's so intense, I'm stealing that from you. That was when DC, there's a kind of art, obviously, right? That was the most brilliant part of the DC universe. And I have to say Marvel too, because it's about, it has to be human emotion at some point. So, I'm a inappropriate motor mouth, so it's universe. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, first off, sorry, my name is Matt. First off, Donald Logue, you're one of my absolute favorite actors. Whenever I see you in something, I'm like, oh my God, it's Donald Logue. And so not for the last time, I just want to pour one out for Terriers.
Thanks.
Yeah, gone too soon. But my question is actually for Sean. Over the summer, I think it was the 4th year of your father's show, Doctor Who. Yeah, was released on Blu-ray, and I think you were on the Yeah, you were on the special features, interviewed about what that was like having your dad on a box of, sugar smacks and all that sort of thing.
Oh, is that actually on the Green Death DVD thing?
Yeah, that was it.
Right.
That sort of warm paternal presence of your dad as the doctor, did that influence you in any way as Alfred? Were you kind of performing with that in mind a little bit, like, oh yeah, that's how Dad would have played it?
Yeah, I suppose you have. It's a very good question, actually. I suppose you have general traits or tics and things like that. I do. The similarity, though, of course, is that my nose is catching up with his. It's growing by the year. But he was about the same age as I was when I got Alfred. So he was about 53, or 52, I think he was when he got Doctor Who. And of course, the similarities being that they're both dandies, and they're really good in a fight. So, the fact that we were both sort of physical, that's sort of similar, sort of tap to it, the physical doctor and the physical butler. So, that's as far as it goes, I think.
Pity Alfred never got to do Venusian Aikido.
Oh, they did what?
Venusian Aikido.
Oh, yeah, Venusian Aikido,
And guys, I'm so sorry. It looks like we are out of time, but can we give a round of applause to all of our guests?
That went too quick.
Thank you.